Good afternoon or morning, depending on where you're watching this. Guess I could say good day and keep it safe that way. If you are joining us for the first time, my name is Alan C. Paul, and I'm the author of God and Gigs and the creator of God and Gigs. This particular platform, we are coming live now for the first time on a couple of platforms now. We're also going live here on Instagram as well. So we're trying out to go live from a few places: Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So this is a little bit fun. We'll see who gets to be able to check in with us today. And this is our weekly creative checkup, which is a weekly pep talk designed to help you to get a little bit of a jump start on the week, whether you've been working over the weekend in church or maybe doing performances, gigs, whatever you've been doing. This is designed to kind of give you that boost you need to get through the rest of the week. Some people call this the musician's day off or the creator's day off because we've had usually busy weekends. And of course, now with COVID, everything's changed, but there's still this need for us to reconnect, get ourselves together, get focused, and move on to the week and hopefully build better creative lives as we do it. So that's the goal here. Excuse me. And I'm going to go ahead and check out and see, make sure we're on all of our platforms. So forgive me if I have to do a little bit of housekeeping as we go. But as soon as I can, I'll try to get into the content that we'll be doing today. And hello on Instagram. We got some people joining us. Thanks so much. Give us like 2 seconds to make sure everybody is on our other platforms as well. Because like I said, we're doing a lot of moving parts today. Going live on YouTube, going live on Instagram. Okay, good. We're live on Facebook. That's awesome. So everybody is joining us on Facebook. Thank you for joining us in the next, few minutes or so. Of course, everybody takes a little bit of time to get in. And also, I would love to say hi to anybody watching us on YouTube, because this is our first time on YouTube. Our channel has been, we've been working on it, but we never really used it for live videos before. So let me jump in here and make sure I share this with our creative community on Facebook, and then we'll get started right away. But those of you who are jumping in right now, let me just ask you how your weekend was, and let me ask you just in general, how are you doing with these transitions, with all these openings, closings, things like that? How are you handling it? Like, are you excited that things seem to be getting, in your area back to normal? Now I'm in Florida, so things are totally different. Are you going back to services? If you're working at a church, are you playing again? Are you singing again? Maria Z, good to see you on Instagram. Thanks so much for joining us. I was really hoping I could get as many people from the West Coast as possible. Maria Z has a episode with us, one of our best episodes ever. I had to look up the number to make sure I get the right number. But Maria Z, thank you for joining us on Instagram. And let's see who else we have here, if I can see some of our chat. I got a whole bunch of things, like I said, moving around, guys. So forgive me if I'm kind of typing and tapping and trying to get everybody involved from 3 different areas. This is our first time ever trying this in 3 different places. So, but it should be really fun because we're going to get to some real serious topics, some things that hopefully will help all of us. And here's where I'm going to go for today. Oh, my pleasure, Maria. It's my pleasure to do this. So here's what I'm doing. I'm talking today about money, okay? Because money is on my mind. It's on all of our minds usually, but it's especially on my mind because if you did not catch this, guys, due to COVID, the government moved, and we're called about the U.S., of course. The government moved tax day to July 15th, and it is now July 13th. So surprise, sorry to break it to you guys, but if you didn't realize it, Wednesday is tax day. Wednesday is the day that all of us as business people, even as if you're working from a place, whatever, your taxes are supposed to be filed by July 15th. And musicians, creatives, I know we hate, for the most part, talking about this stuff, but I felt it was really important that I jumped in and I shared some information about how you can get a handle on this, because so many creatives struggle with the whole process of becoming a more savvy business person when it comes to our finances. It just seems to be something that we don't take care of, or we don't feel comfortable doing, Or there'll be somebody that says something like, "Oh, I'm more creative. I don't like to deal with the business side," or "I wish I had a manager." Got a little echo thing going on. I think let me take care of that real quick. Sorry, guys. Just noticed that. So I'm really trying to help anyone I can to deal with this financial situation, whether it's the issue of not having enough income, not being able to track your income. I want to help everybody in this call to get their business in order, because taxes is just one of those areas that proves to us whether or not we're really treating our business, our creative business, like a business, and whether or not we are really benefiting from the fact that we are business people as artists, creatives, and faith-focused freelancers. Remember, this creative checkup is all about that. We're trying to help people who are in this business to make the most impact as possible, the biggest impact that they can. You can't make a big impact if you are constantly struggling with your finances, if you are always trying to figure out whether you can make money or make art. If you can't seem to make the two work together where you can make money and make art, there's always going to be this back and forth on whether or not you're really impacting the world. Because if you're constantly worried about finances, bills, those things take a toll on your creative life. I mean, I have to be very honest. So I want to just hit this on the head today. Now, those of you on Instagram, you're not seeing my slides. I do have some slides on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you want to jump over there just to see what I'm sharing, I'll make sure to repost this eventually where everybody can see all the slides I have and this sort of stuff. But I want to jump right into the content. So anybody that has questions, comments, I'm going to see if I can open my chat as well over here so I can see everybody's. If you are, asking questions, I'm going to do my best to answer questions. But of course, as you probably know, it's hard to respond to 3 or 4 different platforms at the same time. But I am going to try to integrate it so that we can see everybody's questions. And if you have anything that you want to add to the conversation, let's talk. Let's share some ideas on how we can get a handle of this money thing. Like I said, since tax day is the 15th, some of us are looking for refunds. Some of us are working on trying to deal with this whole COVID situation. We're getting stimulus checks, whether we're going to get another stimulus check. All these things impact us as creatives. So once again, if this is not your cup of tea, I get it, but I felt it was important to deal with it, and I didn't want to leave it out. Especially again, now that we're into this week where taxes and everything is right on top of us as of Wednesday. So what I'm sharing is the 3 things that made the biggest impact on me as a creative professional, that helped me get from making no impact with my finances and really having a struggle with my income to having a handle on my income and being able to see benefits coming. The benefits of being a creative business person, the benefits of using my music and my art to build income for myself, but then also know how to deal with it and what to do with it. Because if I don't know where my money is going, then I can't do anything with it. If I don't know where my money is coming from, then I don't know how to get more of it. So my goal today is to give you 3 strategies that will absolutely make sure that you are making the most of your creative income, getting more of it, and being able to maximize your impact with your income so that you're not giving it all back to the government or losing track of it or feeling like you're just constantly spinning your wheels when it comes to money. Okay, so that's my goal. First off, number 1, guys, I am not a financial expert. I am not a tax expert. I'm not an accountant. I'm none of those things. So quickly get that out of your head. If you were looking for any kind of legal advice or tax advice, wrong person. You got to go to somebody that knows what they're talking about for this. So I'll talk about later where you can find some good accountant advice and some people that I recommend for that sort of thing. So I want to make sure I got that out of the way. Thank you for joining us over here. A1A Guitars on Instagram and Just Meets 90 over here on Instagram. And I haven't seen my people over here. Oh, there we go. Jeffrey on Facebook. Who else do we have? A couple of other people, I think, because I have 3 or 4 different screens open. So yeah, like I said, forgive me, I have to jump around to see what's going on each different page. But as long as we got you guys in here, that's all I want to make sure that we were live. Okay, so let's get to our first thing that I did to help me get my creative business into the effective earning money, earning income, knowing where my money was coming from. And that first one was opening my business account and really using my business account. Now, here's the thing about business accounts. You probably heard this before from several different financial experts if you've ever, been involved in anything when it comes to business. You have to keep your business expenses and your business income separate from your personal. And I'm talking to the entrepreneurs, the freelancers, those of us who use our money and use our resources for business as an artist, okay? If you're an employee and you're simply doing this as a, as a side hustle, and you're not really doing it to create a business, then maybe this doesn't apply to you as much. But for all of us who are in business as artists and freelancers, you got to keep these two things separate. And the reason I say I used my business account is because this is a dirty little secret for a lot of us. A lot of us are not honestly using our business account for business. We have a business account. You might have opened one. You might have said, okay, I need to have a business account. But then it just becomes a glorified second personal account, because you're not really keeping the two separate. So when you need money for something, you just slide it over here. You need money over here, you slide it over here. You make some money here, you put it in the business account, but then you immediately move to the checking account, and it doesn't really, sit in the business account for business more than a couple of minutes. Like, you just use it to business, and then you move it to personal, and then back and forth, and it's like, okay, it's the money, I earned it, I'm good. Here's this problem with that, and again, not as a financial person, but just as a person working as you are in the creative industry. When you start just pretty much treating your business account as a second personal account, you really don't feel or really don't appreciate what your business is capable of doing. And if you're not treating your business account like a business account, in other words, paying your things from your business account when you have business expenses, if you're not really treating it like that, you're really missing out on the possibilities of getting the income from your business, because you're always going to see it as kind of like almost like a savings account, or like something that doesn't really build over time. My goal as a musician and a creative is that my business account takes care of all my business expenses, and I never once have to touch anything for my personal. So that means that maybe I do have a second job over here, and that would be my personal account, but my business account pays all of my business expenses. It handles everything when I need to buy cables or cords or microphones or cameras or anything. There's always money there in the business account to take care of those business expenses, and I don't even have to think about going to my personal. And the reason why this made a huge difference for me is because, again, the mindset changed to where I said, okay, wait, I've made this much money from my gig, but I need to leave it there because there's going to be expenses coming later that I need to spend that money from that gig on. And if I always immediately take my money from my business and slide it immediately as profit to my personal, then you never really understand the power of your business earning potential. And a lot of you, if you're like me, I got nailed by this. By the time you get to tax day and you look and you say, well, what did I earn from my business? And you see this amount and you're like, wait, do I get any deductions from that, or did I do anything? And you can't name any deductions because you didn't spend any money in the business account. You just slid it over there, and it all became basically income and profit, and you have to pay taxes on all that profit. You don't want that. You want your business to be acting like a business, which means you got to use your business account like a business account. Maybe you might say, I don't have a business account, never opened one. Okay, just go to your local bank. Say you want to open a business checking account, and then of course the next thing slide, you'll see how that works to make sure that you open it in a separate account that's a business entity alone. But these are just simple things, guys, that makes a huge difference. So let me check over here. Let's see. I cannot find my chat window, which is really bothering me because I know I have it and I'm not sure where it is, but I'm going to find it pretty soon. Anyway, I'm going to make sure that you guys, if you have any questions, that I'm going to be able to respond to them. Okay? So let's see here. Yeah, I probably have some comments over here. And if you're watching in the creative community, I know I can't answer those. Oh, thank you so much, Jeffrey. Oh, I saw you over here on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, and now you're on Instagram too. Okay, you threw me off there for a second. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. And Jeffrey, you'd be one to talk for sure. Jeffrey owns a company, and you know more than any of us as far as dealing with inventory and working with this stuff. So I bet you have better information than I do. I'm talking about from a freelancer standpoint. You could definitely talk about it from owning your own business, your brick and mortar business. He's got a guitar business here in South Florida. So that's my first thing that made a huge difference, using my business account effectively, actually paying expenses from my business account, making sure that I really was treating it like a business. Secondly, I made my business official. And what does that mean? That means I actually formed my LLC, my limited liability corporation. I have my DBA, my name that I'm doing my business under as a creative, as a musician. And this is why it made a huge difference, guys, because once again, this has a lot more to do with mindset necessarily than money. But when I started making my business official, it did two things. One, it changed my mindset. And then two, it opened me up to new opportunities as a business person, as a creator. Here's an example. It's very hard to convince people in certain areas, let's say corporate America, or to get gigs in corporate America or different clients. It's very hard to do business as a person by yourself because they need to see some credentials. So I got myself an LLC. I did my LLC last year. I don't know why it took me so long, but I got my LLC last year, even though I've been doing business as a sole proprietor for almost 20 years. As soon as I got that LLC, I can tell you new opportunities popped up for me because whenever I was able to put corporation behind my name, it really legitimized my business. Even though I've been in business for years, there are companies and corporate and government contracts that I could not apply for simply because I would get the emails and they said, well, who is this person? We don't see their information on Florida. We have SunBiz. That's our Department of Corporations. And if they didn't see that, it limited my ability to earn money with them because they could not verify me as a business. But once I got my LLC set, applied for it, there's different corporations and different corporate fees for filing with your state all over the place. So you got to check with your state. But the key of this is once you do that, it opens the door to new opportunities and it sets you up to think like a business. Because once I knew, okay, I got an LLC, I got to take care of my corporate records, I got to follow these ABC things, I started treating my business more like a business. That's how I started to really earn more money for my business because I was taking the time to pay attention. Oh, well, I need to apply to this grant or I need to apply to this, what was it? There was, it just popped out of my head, not the grant, but for this contract. I was able to apply to a contract for my music student. Oh, and liability insurance. That's the thing that popped in my head. To be able to get liability insurance because some gigs I couldn't get until I had liability insurance. But in order to get liability insurance, I needed to be an entity. Now, I could have done it personally, but it just didn't make sense. It made more sense to do it as not as a sole proprietor, but as a corporation, as an LLC. That made a huge difference in my bottom line because again, that contract came through because I actually had the stuff in place, the infrastructure in place to support me getting that contract. So making your business official, going to your state website, seeing what does it take to get your DBA or what does it take to get your LLC. Somebody, thanks for joining us over here on Facebook. So what does it take to get your LLC? What does it take if you're going to do business as an S corporation, which you can do, or C corporation? These are all different designations. Again, I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not a financial planner, but these are things you want to look into. And we could talk more about it if you want to do a 15-minute coaching call. You can go to godandgigs.com/coaching, and I can tell you a little more through a 15-minute coaching call about how I did my business stuff. But what's the key of this is you've got to think about making your business official. And then, of course, going back to taxes for a second, you cannot deal with the IRS and just your personal account and then try to take any deductions as a business, because if you have not officially created your DBA as a sole proprietorship or whatever, you're basically being taxed what they call double taxation, I think, because your income from your personal income is just self-employment tax, and you're not getting any benefits from that, and it's basically just going right into your personal income, and they're hitting you basically at a higher rate than maybe you would have if you incorporated. And so I'm not a tax person again, but that's something you really want to pay attention to. It's really smart to not get stuck simply doing your taxes and doing your finances as a personal income, when you have the benefit you could be using of being a business person and doing it like that. I finally found my chat window. Sorry about that, guys. I knew it was here and I just couldn't figure out where it was. So let's see if I have any comments here. Okay. Oh, somebody's raising up. Oh, thank you for waving. I just couldn't see it. I don't know why I couldn't see that. There we go. So hopefully you guys will be able to see me chat back and forth with you as well. That's on Instagram and on on Facebook and on YouTube. Okay, so that's number one. I use my business account. Okay, and then number two, I made my business official. Those are two things. Number three, I tracked my expenses. Sounds simple, not simple as it could have been. Once I started doing it, I figured out how to make it simple. But at the beginning, it was a nightmare. Because why I say this made the biggest impact on my business to be able to save money and earn more money is because I finally got a handle of what I was spending as a musician and as an artist. What some of you might have realized over this situation of COVID, you might have noticed a lot of us weren't driving anymore, right? So once you stopped driving, did anybody notice how much less you were driving, how much money you were actually spending on gas? As a musician, I still drive, not as much anymore, obviously, but I was driving all over the place. And as soon as all the gigs got canceled, I started looking back and I said, oh my gosh, look at all this money I've been spending on gas this whole time sometimes I was spending just as much on the gas and getting back and forth as the gig was paying. Not totally, but there was a huge chunk if it was a long trip that I didn't really even equate to the gig cost and the cost of doing business. But once I looked at my expense of the gas, it's like, wow, maybe this particular gig wasn't worth it. At least if I'm doing it week after week after week after week, if I'm spending this much on gas just to get there. So that's why I'm saying maybe there's something to this when it comes down to tracking your expenses that helps you understand how you can get more income and see whether or not the thing that you're doing is worth doing it. Because if you're spending money to make money, you got to make sure that that return on investment, you guys maybe have heard that term ROI, that return on investment's got to be worth it. And so if you're spending so much money just to be a musician, just to buy this or buy that, or you need this new keyboard, well, how much money are you going to make from that keyboard? And is it worth the investment? And can you really catalog that? Well, if you don't track your expenses, you have no idea how much money that keyboard might have made for you, or that drum set, or that art project, or that camera. You got to see both the income and the expenses. You got to track that to see what really happened when you bought that thing, or how many gigs did you get from that thing? Did it earn back its investment cost? Or you just like, I needed something new and I wanted to stay busy, but you don't really know what happened with your business. This is a huge thing, guys. And so, excuse me, I keep losing my voice. Sorry about that. So, what I really want to impress upon you is how easy it could be to track your expenses. And that's by connecting it with one of these automatic tracking software or app things. And I always promote the one that I use called TaxBot. And you can go to guidinggigs.com/taxbot. And actually on Instagram and Facebook, I think I have, I don't have the browser anymore. I wish I could have shown you. But I can, let's see, I can go here. I can at least go, it's taxes. I'm sorry, I changed it just to make sure it's a lot easier to remember. guidinggigs.com/taxes. And you can see a demo of TaxBot. Okay, TaxBot is an automatic app that helps you to automatically get your finances loaded into a software that tracks all of your deductions automatically and your driving automatically. Okay, so if you want a demo of that, go to guidinggigs.com/taxes. Okay, taxes. That's the one that will get you to the demo, and see how this app helps you to track your stuff automatically. And again, I'm not just saying that because I'm an affiliate, because I am an affiliate of TaxBot. But if you really want to get a handle on your finances, you've got to know where your money is going. And here's where it applies to taxes. If you know where your money is going and you know how much you spent, that money is then deducted from your income as a business person, so that that money is not charged against your income and you have less to pay in taxes. That's the entire issue of deductions. Lowering the amount that you have to pay to the government, because each dime you spend to help your business, the government lets you take it off your income, and so you're not charged as much. And that's a big issue. And I have noticed now, I've been working on my taxes now for the past 2 weeks or so, and I was missing a lot of receipts, but thanks to TaxBot, I was able to quickly catalog them. And I found about $15,000 so far. $15,000 that is not going to be counted against my income because it will be deducted. So that is the huge, huge benefit. I'm not looking for a tax refund, but if I was to get one, that would be the way I would get it, by tracking all of my expenses automatically and then treating it like a business so that I can see where my money is going and then using those advantages as a business. And a matter of fact, we have a what do you call it, interview with the CEO of TaxBot, Jake Randall. I want to say it's Gotten Gigs slash, I want to say 53. Let me check that real quick and make sure which episode that is. But I want to say it's 53 that we had with Jake Randall. I'm checking right now. Forgive me for like spending time. No, that was Sage. Give me 5 seconds and I'll get that for you. So that's why I'm pushing on. Let me see. Oh, I went to the wrong slide here. Let me get back to where I was. Where are you guys? Oh my gosh, you guys see me going through all this on my things. I got lost. Let's go back here. 2 and 3. Finally. So I tracked my expenses, and again, using godandgives.com/taxes is where you can find that demo for that particular product that I really, really, really recommend if you want to get a handle on your money and make sure that you're not losing out on these deductions. Remember, July 15th is already here. I don't know if you have an accountant. I don't know if you've done your taxes. Maybe some of you have done you've already done a extension or whatever you've done. But if you haven't addressed this, start addressing it for next year. You're halfway through 2020. All this COVID situation knocked us off all over again. But what you might have is some more time now to work on that stuff. You may have more time to go back and say, okay, can I go catalog my receipts from the last 6 months? Can I figure out what I made from these different gigs and make sure that it goes in a spreadsheet like a QuickBooks or a FreshBooks, or a TaxBot also works for that as well. And so you want to go check that out now. Don't wait till the next year. Even if you are past the deadline, go ahead and figure out where your money went. Let me see. I'm going to find this number for you guys. I should have it right in front of you. For our interview was 57. So go to godandgives.com/57 if you want to hear the interview with Jake Randall of TaxBot. He gave some incredible tips that is going to help you save money right away. And again, guys, I'm going to be very honest. A lot of us creatives get in trouble because we don't treat this part of our lives effectively, and we try to skirt around it. We don't apply or we don't file, and then we get in trouble later on. Don't be that person. Be the person that takes advantage of these gifts, advantage of these tools, advantage of your creative life as a business person, and then you can benefit financially because you'll be earning more. You'll be treating it like a business. You'll be applying for more things. People will treat you more officially, and that way you get the benefits of being a business. And that goes to my last point here. To get more business, you need to act like one. A little bit pointed, a little bit in your face, and I mean it. If you're not acting like a business, if you're treating this like a hobby, if you have not created a business name, if you didn't save your name, your business name as, let's say, your website, and bought your website. Oh, I forgot that you mentioned that. Some of the things that go along with making sure you get more opportunities. I was able to get more opportunities because my website was bought, because I was able to buy my name under my company. And now I own several different brands that cannot connect with my brand. I don't have to go under 3 different names. It's all under my LLC. So the LLC goes out and buys AlanCPaul.com, AlanPaulMusic.com, GodandGigs.com, and they all go under the umbrella of my company. And that way I don't have to do crazy things trying to remember, wait, did I buy it under my personal name or does it belong to the company? All of these things are things that I pray you are paying attention to, because if you do these things, it's going to help you increase your bottom line. You're going to think like a business. You're going to act like a business. And then when you do those things, you'll be able to increase your income and increase your impact. And I'm telling you personally, when I started tracking my expenses with TaxBot, when I got my LLC straight and I actually started using it and I got my liability insurance straight, I started doing contracts straight through my business. And this is, guys, I'm 46. I have no qualms in saying how old I am. Once I finally started doing that, that's when things started to change in my business, and I started seeing real benefits when it comes to that. Okay, so that's really the meat of the presentation that I want to give for today. And if you are interested in any of the tools I've mentioned, whether it be TaxBot or maybe you want to get more into the business side in terms of building your website. We have some website resources available from Bluehost. It's godandgigs.com/Bluehost, but you can find all those things at godandgigs.com/toolkit. That's where all of our stuff is, okay? godandgigs.com/toolkit. And anything regarding business, anything regarding how to build your creative business and get the income you need, because in COVID, in this situation post-pandemic, we have to be more serious than ever about every dime that comes in and every dime that goes out. And now that it's tax time, it's the perfect time to make sure you get serious. Don't wait until next year. Don't say, oh, I couldn't do it. I had no idea. I don't have an accountant. Yes, you should have an accountant. I paid for an accountant, paid a lot of money for an accountant that I trust that will help me. And actually, I got it through TaxBot. I'm a member of the TaxBot mastermind community. And that really helped because I was able to find someone that I really trust and is going to be able to help me get everything decent and in order. But wherever you get your accountant, wherever you find your tax professional, whether you do it through H&R Block or TurboTax or whatever you do, please follow through with those 3 things, okay? Make sure you're tracking your expenses because it will help you save money and find out where your money's coming from. Make sure that you have established your name as an official business, whether it be through your local government, your state. Make sure that you're filed for a tax EIN. Some of you guys know what that is. It's receive a tax ID. It's pretty easy once you look through it. And actually, you know what I probably should do on the resources page, and I'll try to do this soon, is I will post some stuff regarding how to get your business started, because I realized I didn't have that. Tobias, thanks so much for joining us here on Instagram. I'm going to hang on for a couple more minutes. If there are any questions, let me check around the chat as well and see if there's anybody else that's asking. Melissa, thanks for joining us here on Facebook. Very cool. And I did not get a chance to check in on YouTube, which was our newest place. And I can actually, let me see. I'm not sure how to check the YouTube at all yet. So, Jeffrey, it's my pleasure, man. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know if there's anything else I could do. Quick announcements, I guess, will be the podcast. Came out on Thursday, as always. There was an episode on anger, how to deal with anger in your life as a creative, especially when it comes to frustrations, when it comes to whether it be political, cultural things that are happening. How can you keep the anger from getting stuck inside? There's an episode on that. That's episode 70. You can go to godandgigs.com/70. The episode before that, episode 69, was with Nate Seto, who's an R&B artist, talking about how he's building his YouTube channel and using God as a divine manager. So some really awesome things going on in the podcast. I already mentioned godandgigs.com/toolkit. And then if you're interested in the tax software, go to godandgigs.com/taxes, okay? Make sure there's a link there also on Instagram. You can see it here. And then I'll also make sure to put that in. Oh, by the way, let me just show you what you'll see when you get there. Oh, no, that's not it. I keep forgetting that's not the chat thing. That's the chat thing. I have to learn how to use that more often, so I apologize, guys. So I was getting used to this new software. I don't want to try out and see how it worked. Okay? But it's 12:33. We usually go about 30, 45 minutes. So if there are no questions, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks so much for joining this creative checkup. I hope you found some information that was helpful. And I will definitely look for you next week, same time, 12 o'clock. I'm sorry. It's 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific. I got to get used to that, those back and forths, because one is obviously Eastern and Pacific, but we want to do it later for our Pacific viewers. So Maria Z, thanks for checking in. Thanks Phil and Tobias and Jeffrey for coming in over here. Simone and all these other people that I can't see all of your names. Queesings or Keesings, I'm not sure how that says. But thank you for joining us. Oh, some of you are watching on the replay. You can also jump in on the replay, of course, and comment and give me ideas about what you're dealing with in your financial life. What are your biggest struggles? What is affecting you the most when it comes to your finances? And I probably should have started with that question. I apologize. But what's the biggest issue affecting you as in the financial side in terms of your business? And remember, since July 15th is tax day, it's never been a more appropriate time to get that part of your life, your creative life, back under control so that you can make more impact with the God-given creative gift that you've been given. Okay, guys? So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks so much once again for joining us in the Creative Checkup. See you guys next week.